I'm just surprised because I'm seeing all these quotes from Iger about like when he retired and how much he's loving retirement. I mean, the guy is completely
Let's remember that he never wanted to leave. He was made to leave in a sense as punishment for the Fox thing, because that really messed his knee up, the timing of that. But carry on.
Yeah, he says, I don't miss my job. Retirement is great. I have a vastly different life than before. Much more air in my day. So I think it's hysterical, but
he's full of shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Hollywood speak for I'm desperate to come back and I'm plotting my return.
Look, they could have John Fetterman running Disney right now. I don't think that anybody is going to be able to basically a house plant. It's not going to be able to change things. It's not going to change things. I don't see, unless you're going to clean house in such a dramatic fashion as Elon Musk. I really believe Elon Musk is teaching a master class. Here's how you do it. Work hard, come in the office, or you can leave. And many chose to leave. He's got the hard workers. He's got the people that are passionate and dedicated toward his vision. So two things. One, Iger's never going to do that. And two, does he even have a vision? Does he have a vision for what Disney's? And I'll say this, if Strange World's a movie that will tank, it's going to tank. I mean, it's one thing where some sort of subtle LGBTQ stuff in Buzz Lightyear. It's much more on the nose from my understanding, from everything that I've read. And it's not based on a pre-existing franchise or brand or anything recognizable. That movie will bomb, especially because, and it's also going to be a really interesting test to see how good Disney's brand is, right? Like people, I believe the brand is tarnished. I believe that at least half the country is like, yeah, I'm not gonna drink the Kool-Aid that Disney is serving because it doesn't align with what I believe. I think a lot of people over the last couple of years have finally woken up to like, this is like, right, especially that, the footage of some of those meetings that emerged, right, where people were very overt about what they were trying to do within the company. I think that more and more people have become aware of that, and you just sort of see it in subtle ways in nearly all their Disney films. I mean,
Chris, the Strange World movie the projections now have it so low. The Strange World movie has projections so low that it's approaching Bob's Burgers, and yet Bob's Burgers was 3 episodes of the show strung together into a movie facing Top Gun Maverick and Doctor Strange. And Strange World has no competition over Thanksgiving week for family audiences. I'm telling you this right now. If Disney gave me a $30 million production budget, I could put the Wuzzles. I could reboot the Wuzzles. Okay, I could bring Stick Stickly back from Nickelodeon, and I could make more money than this will make.
No, Strange New World is still going to be up against Wakanda Lives Matter.
Right. Exactly.
No, but I think that the hilarity of it is all these projects that are tanking, these are all technically Iger projects.
They are. That's the thing.
That's the funniest part of this whole goddamn thing, is that they are fucking panicking right now. And that's what I've been saying from the start, is they looked at this because he had, as Pro and others have pointed out, the board had his back in no less than a week ago when they said, here, we need to do all these cuts, or he said that, and they said yes. But from what we've been hearing, what WDW Pro heard, and from some of the things we're hearing from other outlets, is that those cuts were going to go places they didn't want.
He was literally removing the woke.
Exactly, and certain people with power spoke up, and I guarantee you, Bob Iger was one of those fucking people.
Oh yeah,
because he is responsible for all of this shit.
He is, and I would speculate that this was very, very tactical by many parties. I would say you're 100%.
Oh yes,
and I would say that it was actually the way to pull the trigger was exactly how they did, because as I've speculated before, the direct to consumer losses were stacked up too high. And remember, a personal point of privilege for Bob Iger is Disney Plus, or as I call it, Disney Minus. and the amount of money being spent on original content has pretty much exposed it to be, a drag on the company. You're losing money with this Disney Plus thing. Somehow, I guess Chapek overstepped by saying in the last meeting, the quarterly, that they were going to be able to achieve profitability by 2024. I don't see how. In fact, I don't see how any of these streaming services will do it. But I think that direct consumer loss stacked with underperformance across the board probably didn't help him any. And it actually, they really probably just flashed a bunch of analyst statements at some of the right people to bring Iger back into the fold, basically saying, between Nathanson and many of these other, high profile analysts talking about the fact that, there's a lot of things that, McCarthy and Chapek were, misguided about or misstating about the financial prospects for the company. Disney's going to go through all of these hard times that all these other companies are. All these other companies are now scaled layoffs through the first part of next year. You're going to start to see massive reductions in staffing. From Paramount Global to Warner Brothers Discovery will continue to scale back. Comcast is about to go through round number 5 of massive layoff cycle. So, buckle up, kids. It's not just going to be Disney. All these companies are going to go through some very hard times. But I think that's the financial thing that they took advantage of to get rid of.
I think Warner's safe. I think Zaslav is the guy who's going to take things in a different direction because he kind of has already. I mean, is he going to completely kill the woke? No. But he's going to that extent, and he can put up with the resistance all day long. That's the way we got to remember is Chapek has been nothing but bad mouth, treated like shit since the moment he started. He had protests against him. People forget that. When people talk about how he handled the don't say gay part, yeah, he buckled, but people forget what he buckled to, right? He buckled to the entire company going, we want this, we want this, we want this. And then as soon as they got involved, what happened?
And it's more, this is something that many people keep forgetting. And I get annoyed when people say, oh, Chapek buckled, and why was he forced? Well, I shall freaking tell you why. All you have to do is look at who owns Disney, who are the shareholders, and then you can compare who owns Warner, who are the shareholders, and who owns Twitter, who are the shareholders. In the case of Twitter, it's Elon Musk alone. He took the company private. He doesn't have to deal with anyone. There's no one who have any kind of institutional power over him, certainly where Twitter is concerned. So he can do literally whatever the hell he wants because it's his company and it's his alone. If we go to Zaslav over at Warner, remember, Zaslav already has the complete faith and confidence of Discovery, and Discovery acquired Warner, with AT&T retaining only a minority stake. That means you still have your BlackRocks, you still have your Vanguards, but they have really minor positions. Most of the shares are under Zaslav's control. That is why he can do whatever the hell he wants, within certain limits, of course, but by and large, as long as he justifies it, he can do what he wants because he has the confidence of the Discovery board. Now, let's compare that to who owns Disney. There you have a number of huge individuals who I don't know too much about, but the biggest one is Bob Iger. Then you have some very big institutional investors.
George Lucas and a few others too.
Yeah, but again, they're not as big compared to all these others here. Then you also have your BlackRock, you have your Vanguard, you have others that severely push ESG, and all of these put a limit on what Chapek can do. There are some people out there who think that, he's a CEO, he should be able. No, don't work like that. I mean, just look at the president of the United States in years when they don't have the House and they don't have the Senate. You know what that's called? Lame duck president. For all intents and purposes, Chapek, with that board and those owners behind him, is a lame duck CEO. Any Disney CEO is a lame duck CEO unless they do what these really huge institutional investors want. And if you're going to go past them, you have to play a game and you have to get all of the other investors on your side. And that's kind of what Chapek was doing. This is the difficulty here. Culture, I see you're itching to say something.
No, just I wanted to add to what you're saying. Between Vanguard, State Street, and BlackRock, they own almost 20% of Disney.
There you go. That is why Chapek has to bend the knee. Because if he doesn't, he's fired.
Yeah. And interestingly
Which
enough,
is what he was.
yeah, exactly. Interestingly
There
enough,
you go, yeah.
You actually have Iger himself rocking 1.1 million shares of the company. That's not as significant as you would think, but it's the largest individual shareholder out there as far as a person, not an entity. So he owns about 0.06% of the outstanding shares.
Just to put that in comparison so the audience understands.
Yeah.
So Iger's the biggest single individual shareholder. He's got a million plus.
Yep.
Vanguard has 136 million shares that they own. So you have to understand for Disney, there's a big three. The big three have massive sway. And here's the other thing to take away. No matter if we're correct about, or if I'm correct about the ESG side, or if it's something to do with Disney Plus, or if it's something to do, you could even make some kind of outlandish claim that maybe they needed Iger back to negotiate divesting from China. You could come up with something like that. Although it wouldn't make much sense why they wanted to essentially humiliate Chapek the way they have.
Yeah.
But let me say this. So here's the point. Those big three signed off. There's no way this happened without those big three.